Hi, and welcome to
Coffee, Glasses, and a Ponytail. Alright, well, it's been forever. Since before
the future.
Christmas.
Yeah.
I think we might have had a little update about that we were going to be back in 2 weeks, like 2 months ago. But yeah, here we are. It's regular watchers. You should notice I have new glasses. How good do I look? No? Okay. Happy birthday to Molly.
Hi.
A month ago.
Yeah.
So, she got her driving permit. She's ready to go. Be on the road. Learner's permit. So, but anyway, we're here to talk about Steelheart, the first of the Reckoner's trilogy. It's kind of a trilogy because it's like there's like a middle novella book that they kind of.
There is?
Yeah.
Oh,
Everybody's called. And then there's like another one that he's gonna do, I think, at some point. Maybe gonna cover a different character in this trilogy. But so brief synopsis. What is the premise?
So there was this thing that happened called Calamity, or it was Calamity, right? Yeah. And it made a bunch of people have superpowers, but the more that the people used their superpowers, the worse that they got. So then there's a group of normal people that are trying to rebel against the people with superpowers, who are called epics. And so they're trying to rebel against the epics, like normal people. So they made a group called the Reckoners, and yeah.
And there's different levels of epics, right? There's like those. What are there's the high epics, and then there's like several stages down.
Yeah.
People that can turn. I don't know, something stupid. Turn. I don't know even know. But
Good example.
But like the high epics can they can't get shot. They have superhuman speed. Yeah. They can store up enough energy in their body to cause some kind of explosion without it hurting them.
Mm-hmm.
Start fire. I mean, all of the things. And then.
But they all have one weakness.
Yes.
Every single one has a weakness.
And do they know their own weakness?
It's just trial and error. Yeah, it's just trial and error to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of what the series is about. It's a pretty easy read, but it's pretty enjoyable. It's not fantasy. It's more of just a fiction adventure. Young adult, probably.
Probably.
There's not so many characters that you get overwhelmed. The majority of the time, there's like 4 or 5 characters in a book, really, that you kind of keep track of. Yeah. Not like Brandon Sanderson's other books or George R. Martin, where they have 50, 60 characters spanning all these, and they're just hard. This is really easy to keep track of.
Hobbit.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Characters.
Yeah,
I cannot remember them all.
Yeah, and I don't know if anybody have read the Stephen Erickson, the book of the I'm gonna get it wrong, Malazan. It's like a 10-book series, and the cast is like hundreds of people. It's a really good series, but it's so big, the world is so vast that I stopped after 7 books because I just couldn't. By the time I would start reading the next book,
did the main character ever die?
There's no one main. I mean, there's kind of main characters, but people die all the time, and I don't remember. So maybe they did, but
they die, but you don't remember who they are.
Yeah. So, but I remember it being good. It just got to be so much that it wasn't enjoyable for me. So, but anyway, on to Steelheart. So, basically, the book opens up. The main character, his name's David. He's with his dad in a bank, and one of the epics comes in that we don't really know because he's not the main guy.
Was it Death Point or Steelheart? Death Point?
Death Point. Okay. He comes in.
His superpowers are really obvious.
Which one? Yeah.
He points at you and you die.
You die.
Death Point.
Creative.
Whoa.
Yeah, I did read an article or listen to a podcast about Brandon Sanderson ranking his top books, and Steelheart is one of his favorite books, but basically because it was just so easy to write. He said he wrote it like really, really quickly. And in places I think it shows, but I think he was just having fun because it was just a different genre for him. Yeah. But yeah, it's not very creative. It's Death Point.
The table is shaking a lot.
Dead.
The table is shaking a lot.
Oh, sorry. Okay. So, I was excited.
Really?
So, he comes in, and then Steelheart kind of gets upset because he's kind of trying to assert his dominance, I think, is what Steelheart. And then Steelheart comes in, basically kills him. But then nobody notices, except for David, that Steelheart has got a cut on it.
No. I didn't even read these chapters, and I know.
Well, you read them at one point.
Okay, so David and his dad are at the bank, and David was going, and his dad was going to kill Death Point with a gun that he found, but I think he either hit Death Point and killed him, or missed Death Point and then
he missed Death Point.
Okay. And then he hit Steelheart across the cheek.
Was the cheek?
And it cut him and he started bleeding.
Yeah.
So then Steelheart killed Death Point and everyone in the bank, but David escaped.
Yeah, because he didn't want
anyone to know.
To know that he could bleed. And so the rest of the premise from here forward is that David knows that Steelheart can bleed. Everybody else just kind of notices one day he has like a scar, but they didn't realize that it was on from that day. So, but David, kind of the rest of the book is trying to figure out how to kill him, because yes, he can bleed, but he's been shot with bullets before and hasn't died. So what's the so in the turn of events, Steelheart kills David's dad and is going to kill David, but then what happens? Doesn't the bank vault fall through the floor or something like that?
Yeah, some other epic comes along and David gets out of the bank. I think he goes into the vault.
Yeah, he goes into the vault.
And then some other epic comes and like pulls apart to make a chasm under the bank, and then the bank falls in it. Yeah. But the vault is safe somehow?
Because then Steelheart, because he's mad, he basically turns everything to steel.
Yeah, he can do that too.
That's his, yes. So
Steelheart.
Yeah. So he turns like the whole bank, all the surrounding area, from bricks and stone and grass into just steel.
Well,
I mean, they're still the same shape.
I don't think he can turn anything living into steel. I don't think if you're alive, he can turn you into steel. So that's why David wasn't turned into steel.
Okay. Yeah. So, but basically, there were some survivors.
There were no survivors.
David was a survivor.
Yeah, but he was the only one.
Right. And then, so that's what happens in the prologue. So, then we go forward probably. I didn't say how many years.
I believe it was 14.
How old did you think David was when you started reading the book? Like starting in chapter 1. Like when you were just reading it.
I don't remember. Isn't he 16?
I mean, it tells you
Is he 16
pretty
or 18?
early. He's 18.
He's
but
18.
When I first started reading it, I thought he was like 14 years old.
I did too.
So
yeah, I thought he was pretty young.
Because then, he meets a character that he thinks is really hot, and I'm thinking, well, of course she doesn't like you because you're like 14. But then he tells her, I'm 18 or 19, and I was like, oh, I did not realize that. So, chapter 1, after it's destroyed, kind of Steelheart has kind of consolidated some epics around him. One of them is Night Wielder, which, can you guess what his magic power might be? It's dark all the time there in New Chicago, which in the city names are real imaginative too. Instead of Chicago,
New Chicago.
It's New Chicago because the new epic has come and taken over, and so it's New Chicago.
Very creative.
And so we learned just a little bit about David's backstory of the factory. I mean,
yeah. I don't really get what the factory was all about.
I don't know what they like. I don't know if it was just.
I don't even know why he added it.
I don't know what they made or what they
I thought
essentially.
they made guns, but I could be wrong.
Was that what, essentially basically? If you got to work in this factory, it was kind of considered a blessing because they gave you room and board.
Yeah.
I don't know to what end, other than to kind of keep. Because the Epics also want to make their city a place where people want to be, because that's kind of how they feel powerful.
Yeah.
Because so he did keep it, and he kept the electricity on, but we come to find out how he did that later on, because there has to be electricity because it's always dark. I don't know why he wouldn't want people to see, like why you would want it to always be dark, but he did. Does it say why?
I don't remember it saying why. I think it's because the dark scares people. So
Maybe it's easier. Yeah, it's easier to kind of
spooky.
Spooky. It covers up what's going on or whatever. So then David hears through the grapevine that the Reckoners are going to try and kill this Epic called Fortuity. He had basically Fortuity. Yeah. He has really good luck. He can
shoot a. Was it a pistol?
No, that was his little helper. That comes up in the next chapter. He can basically. He's like a precog. He kind of knows what's going to happen, like right before it happens. So if you aim a gun at him,
he can sense if you're dangerous or not.
Yeah. So it makes him really difficult to kill.
It's less effective. His power is less effective if he finds you attractive.
Yeah. So the Reckoners send a hot girl after him to kind of distract him, so then they can shoot him. And so David is kind of watching all this from afar, kind of top of a building, something like that. And their plan seems to be working. They've kind of lured Fortuity into. He's talking to what's her name? Megan. And she's kind of, hey, man, how you doing? You're so cute, blah, blah, blah. And then, do you remember what happens? Does something go wrong, or does he pick up on what's...
I don't know. I don't know.
So, Curveball is who you're thinking of, I think, is the one who can shoot.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty much the setup of Chapter 1, that he's there to watch the Reckoners... try to kill an Epic.
Well, he wanted to help, so he wants to let them let him join.
Because he's got a rifle. He's real good with
he's really good with
the rifle. Although in this situation, it wouldn't help much because the guy can
tell when you're about to be shot.
Can tell.
So.
Yeah. So, but I think
can he teleport, or does he just know?
I think he just knows. And then they come to find out that as they're trying to shoot him, he moves really fast. Like they all just thought he was really fortunate, pun intended, because of his name. Yeah. But as they were trying, they realized, oh wow, he can also move really quickly. Yeah. So Curveball is the one you were talking about.
Yes, he can shoot. I think it's a handgun.
But it's unlimited.
Yeah, but it's unlimited ammo, so we can just shoot forever.
Which the handgun situation was a little weird because they weren't very accurate, right? It was kind of like a stormtrooper.
From far away.
What was that? What it was?
Yeah.
I thought he was just talking about overall. They just weren't.
No, they're good close up, is what he was saying.
Okay, but basically he's like a stormtrooper. Mm-hmm. He's just not a very good shot, but he can shoot a lot of bullets at you.
Yeah, because I guess handguns don't do well shooting far away.
Mm-hmm. And that's generally true in our universe too.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if that was a real fact.
I mean, they're not super inaccurate, but they're not as good as a rifle from long range. So
I think it was only a handgun that he could shoot.
I think that's right.
Which I think that's so dumb.
Yeah, why? But that's the thing about these powers. They're kind of just bizarre in their nature. Like one person had the ability to heat up water.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's like, ooh. I guess you wanted tea or coffee real bad. That's a nice power to have.
They won't swim anytime soon.
But
make a hot tub. That would be so
nice. Make a hot tub. There you go. You stick a finger. That'd be $10, please. But Curveball, who's one of Fortuity's like henchmen, lower epic guys, the guy that has the unlimited bullets, he kind of catches David, and David tries to play it off as like, oh no, I'm here to deliver a message. I'm from Fortuity. I'm with the gang. But he messes up because
one of the commanders that he said was actually dead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the
The
Curveball.
person that he said was working, who he was working for, was actually dead.
Yeah, because he had just been killed. So, like a week or so ago. But so Curveball then knows that David's lying. So, and basically now you have the Reckoners trying to kill Fortuity, and now Curveball is trying to kill David because he was trying to help the Reckoners by causing a distraction. And so there's a big chase ensues. And then, do they kill Curveball, or does he just escape? I don't remember.
I believe they kill him. I think...
Because he doesn't really have any crazy superpowers. He just can shoot the gun really fast.
I think David shoots him.
Shoots him, okay.
Mm-hmm. Or runs into him with a car or something.
I think he shoots him because then that's when Megan finds David and like steps on his neck and says,
"Oh, that's right.
Don't get up, or I'll have
shoot
my
you."
sniper." So
that was my favorite part, probably, of that chapter.
Yeah. So she basically says, stay here on this rooftop. I don't know who you are. I don't really trust you. And if you move, like Molly said, the sniper will. So he's like, oh crap, I'm gonna die. And I just want to help these guys, and now they want to kill me. So he just stays there. Which I mean, I would. I mean, you'd probably say I wouldn't get up and move. Somebody just says they're going to shoot me if I move.
I wouldn't either.
I mean.
I'm tired.
So.
This is a little boy.
So she goes back off to kind of help the rest of the Reckoners try to continue their mission because it's kind of all blown up in their face. The plan's not going very well.
Just because of David, though.
Because of David. Yeah, he got involved.
He wants to help.
Right.
But he's being an idiot.
Yeah.
That's what happens to idiots.
So, but in the process, he sees, because he's up on a balcony or whatever, so he can kind of look around and still see what's going on. And he sees Megan kind of being surrounded by some bad guys, and he's like, you know what? If they shoot me, they shoot me. I'm gonna help the Reckoner out because I don't want her to die.
Yeah.
And I think he's just a good shot. I don't think he has a scope or anything. No. I think it's just he's real good with a gun.
Yeah.
With a rifle. Was it like one that him and his dad had, or was it one that he?
I believe it's one that he found at the bank.
Okay. All right. So
he got from the factory. I'm not sure. But
so it's not anything special. It's just a really good rifle. Yep. So he kills, I think, 3 of the people that were trying to kill Megan, and then he decides, which I don't know, he's going to get in the car and drive.
Mm-hmm. He's going to try to run them over.
Okay, so the rest of the people he couldn't shoot, he's going to try to run over with a car.
Yeah.
And his driving is...
It's not good.
Imagine, I'm sure parents out there have, tried to teach their kids how to drive. And imagine if you hadn't had any driving lessons at all, you get behind a wheel and just... That looks easy. I can do that. He was driving.
Yes, he was driving. And he sucks at it.
Yeah. His dad never got him a chance to teach him how. Because he died. Yeah. So he runs into trash cans. I think he runs into a street sign, maybe lights. But the way that it does work out that because he's driving, they can kill...
They kill...
What's his name? Fortuity.
They killed Fortuity?
Yeah.
I thought they killed Curveball.
No, he's already dead.
Oh, my bad.
They kill Fortuity because the car David's driving. So Megan finds David. He gives her his extra gun because she didn't trust him with a gun or whatever. He's driving. I think he smashes into where Fortuity was standing, which makes him jump up into the air. So when you're in the air, you can't move. So she uses both of the guns to shoot, I think probably to the right or to the left. So whichever way he decides to try to move.
Backwards.
He'll die. And so because he had 2 guns and he was jumping in the air, David actually helped out.
Somehow.
Not intentionally, but it worked out.
They could have used that car as a getaway car. Now it's crashed into a pole. Woo.
Yeah. So, so she fires 2 shots at the same time for 2 different guns, and he's jumped up. The Reckoners, the rest of them, they're driving, which would be awesome. I always wanted to drive one of the big the garbage trucks, rubbish
The
trucks.
big garage trucks.
As they say in English, rubbish trucks. Rubbish. So I think that would be just fun. You would feel so powerful, I think. What's going to stop you?
Bow to me.
Yeah. So they all show up. Megan gets on, and Dave must have got on because they all escaped together.
I think they just took him because they were either going to kill him
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
or they didn't want him to tell anyone who they were or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason.
So then they go back to kind of not their headquarters, but I think it's like the building opening that led to the tunnels that go to their headquarters, something like that. And that's when they test him to see if he's an epic. There's
because they don't like epics in their reckoner's place for some reason.
Right. So I forget what they call the thing. It's like they do a blood test.
Yeah, because I guess if you're an epic, you have something in your blood.
Yeah, and the other one was the dowser. It was like just a detector, like to see if you threw off some kind of power signature or something. So they realize that he's not an epic. So, like I said, I already asked you this, but I still thought David was like 14 years old.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem real mature. He doesn't seem real street smart. He seems kind of naive, so kind of like how I would picture somebody younger to be. Especially somebody who's been living on kind of his, 14, living on his own. I mean, at the factory, but he's out of the factory now, right?
Yeah, they kick you out when you're 18.
Yeah. And I don't know, and I think I thought because Megan was the girl that they sent to kind of tempt fortuity, I thought she would be older than she's like 19, right?
Megan?
Yeah.
Oh, she was 20, maybe.
Still, that
right.
seems. I would have expected her to be maybe mid-20s, late 20s, kind of have that kind of a temptress role, but whatever. So David kind of tells us a little bit of the story about how he knew that fortuity was going to be the target, because the professor was like, well, what were you doing there? Because we're kind of a tight-knit group and we don't tell anybody our plans. Mm-hmm. Do you remember how David explained it?
I don't. How did he find out? I don't remember.
I think it was just he studied the Reckoners and realized, well, they don't really go after the high epics like Steelheart or I forget the other ones in the other cities.
Fireflight, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Night Wielder. The one that split the earth open at the bank.
Right.
I forgot what she was called.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But so he generally the Reckoners don't go after them. Maybe.
Was that another one?
I don't know.
It's in like the 3rd book.
I didn't write it down. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Then.
And they really don't go after epics that are kind of like, I'm going to heat the water up, because they're not really hurting anybody. So they kind of go after the middle like mob boss.
But just imagine
thing. It would be cool. Granted.
It's warm now.
So he tells them that and so the process of elimination, I just assumed that fortuity is kind of high enough up, stuff like that. So the professor or the prof is is his nickname, which to me is a ridiculous nickname.
I like it. I think it's funny.
To me, the name would be Professor. I've never heard Professor shortened to Hey Prof. Sounds like, I don't know. It's just weird to me.
I like it.
So, and then they just are going to let him go, because the professor's like, well, you can't join us because we're full.
I don't know why.
Maybe just we're full. You don't.
But they're not, though. They could always use more help, in my opinion.
Yeah. I never understood why you would not want somebody who obviously
Obviously
knows a lot about all the other epics and knows your own pattern more than, so
more than you.
More than you, yeah. But Megan tries to convince the professor that, hey,
Because he's really good with a rifle.
Yeah.
I think that's the only reason why.
You're probably right, yeah. So David tries one last thing. It says that he basically calls them
He basically insults them.
cowards because they don't go after the big baddies. And the professor says that we're not trying to. They're just trying to kill off just kind of the average ones or whatever.
Because I don't think they want to attract too much attention to themselves.
Yeah, they feel like they're kind of doing what good that they can without putting themselves too much at risk, which makes sense.
Yeah.
And then so some guy named Hardman, one of
Cody.
Cody. He asked them. He asked David. So you want us to kill Steelheart? And David said, yes. You want to change things. You want to make them afraid. He's the one to attack. Show them that no one's above our vengeance. So the professor basically says, as he's walking away, I made a decision years ago, son. We have to fight the battles we have a chance at winning. So basically they're kind of...
He's got faith in his team.
Yeah, but not a lot. And they're kind of...
Sarcasm!
He's kind of a coward.
Yeah.
I can understand.
Which I don't get later on. Like, later on in the books, I just don't get why he's such a coward. But.
Yeah, the professor is one of the least likable characters.
Really? He's one of my favorite.
I don't like him.
Him, Megan, and I believe it was... Is Cody the one that's always talking like he's Australian?
I don't think so, but he's my whoever
hilarious.
That is. He's my yeah.
I love that guy.
I like him. I like Megan. I like David. Yes, that's it. That's about it.
He's so funny.
So then the Reckoners, sans David enter. No, sans it's French for without. Sans David enter into the building and they just kind of leave David. And as they're walking away, David
drops the bomb.
David yells out or says loudly, I've seen Steelheart bleed. And then...
Why didn't you tell us that before, you little idiot?
Yeah. Lead with that.
You had better chances, okay?
Yeah. So then basically I think the professor, everybody kind of gathers back around David. And David tells the story about the bank and his father and all that kind of stuff. And they mentioned something, or David, as he's retelling, mentions that the rescuers were killed by Steelheart. But did we know that before this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was in the prologue.
Okay.
Because he didn't want anyone.
And, okay, right.
Yeah. Because I remember they said they put, they told David to lay down with, the dead bodies. So that he would be disguised or whatever. And then when the coast was clear, he ran away. So.
Yeah.
But it was right before Steelheart obliterated everything.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So the other epics that Steelheart has that work for him in the city are, like you said, Firefight, Conflux.
That's what it is.
Yeah. And then Night Wielder. Yeah. So in the end, David has told them enough to kind of convince them, okay, we'll keep you on probation. You can stick around. We're not going to probably teach you to tell you much, but you know too much for us to just let you go.
And is it because he keeps notes of all the Reckoners and all their weaknesses?
Yeah.
They're have you ever read fan fiction online?
No.
Well, it's like that.
Okay.
Hit with the Reckoners.
Okay.
What David does. It's
all right.
Yeah, it's cool.
Cool.
So
they basically are heading back to their hideout. So hole 14, I think, is what it is. So David tells him he's 18, which, I don't really... Then David attempts to make small talk with Megan,
a hot girl.
Yeah, he's all... Because I mean, the book doesn't get into anything too like risque or anything, but it talks about how when she took her shirt off, she's really pretty, and she pulled out like a lipstick thing from in between for her bra, what was or whatever, and it just all the things that 18-year-old boy would notice, and so she's all business. Because she's like an assassin, and he's, the fawning 18-year-old kid that thinks he's got a shot. Basically she's just keeping him talking because, if he's just talking, he won't bother me about things. But yeah, so eventually he figures it out, and he's like,
hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, you're just asking me questions to get me to talk, and she's like, yeah. Idiot. But then, like you said, he does say that, because does she ask him how he knows all of the, or does he just
all the what?
Volunteer all the stuff about all of the superhero powers that all the epics have? And
well, I think that since Megan was asking a bunch of those questions, like, to occupy him, I think that he might have said, she might have asked like hobbies or whatever.
Oh, I think you're right.
So he might have, I don't know though.
I think he just says when she asked him about that he just says, basically
notes on it.
His hobbies are the epics.
Yeah.
And he tells her about, he takes notes and all that kind of stuff. And because she's good at her job, she thinks to herself, well, they've seen you with us. Did you write all those notes down somewhere? And he's like, well, yeah, they're in my apartment, duh. And so she realizes, well, we have to go and get those because you're now linked to us, and they'll know what you know, now we know. And so the next mission is to go at least try to get the notebooks. Did he have pictures? Or was it just notebooks? Because I thought he had like several.
It was like stacks of paper with, there were pictures on them of their weaknesses. Because, like, Night Wielder, I figure the reason that it's dark all the time is because UV light makes him...
That's right.
Like, he's transparent normally. So, like, everything goes through him. Mm-hmm. So, UV light rays make him human, basically.
Make him...
Like, they make him...
Not just visible, but
killable.
Yeah. Like...
Like, they make him a solid...
Visible and actually, like, a physical... I forget what the word is, but he's, like... basically a ghost.
Yeah.
Now, and he's ethereal. Mm. And if the sunlight hits him, it makes him physical.
Yes.
So, so now they realize, I got to tell the professor about this. We have to go back and get these journals. Yeah. Way to go, David.
Yeah.
So the plan is to go out to the flat, and grab your stuff, and we'll get out. They're worried, though, that Nudes has already gotten back to Steelheart.
Yeah.
And then this is where one of the other epics that's not super powerful.
Yeah, it's some sort of illusionist.
Yeah.
I forgot her name.
Probably Illusiony. I don't remember.
Illusionaire?
Yeah, I don't remember her name either. But she can kind of cast, like, if there's two people as guards, she can make them appear as like trash cans or... Yeah.
But you can always tell when an illusioner is casting an illusion because it has this, like, a shimmer to it. Like, it'll...
Yeah.
It'll seem real, but it'll have some element of... I don't know what the word is.
Like... When the road is like hot and you're looking on the road and there's kind of that faint...
The weird waves coming out from it. Yeah,
like that. Like but it's not obvious, but it's there.
Yeah. Unless you're like really good, then it's only...
Right. But she is very rarely the illusion herself. She's often hiding somewhere. So you can't just shoot the illusion. They have to try and find where she is at so they can take her out. So then they know where all the guards are at. So it kind of works, kind of. There's chaos. The plan doesn't go out without a hitch because the cops enter the room.
Yeah.
They basically as he's gathering, I think it was hidden under
his mattress.
His mattress, and he's got a book bag that he wants to kind of stuff it all in. He's deciding which ones to take or whatever, which photos to take, which notebooks to take, and then come to find out one of the cops
was someone from the factory.
That
he was
right.
friends with.
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
It seemed like an okay guy. Like he just gets a job because he's got to get a job. I mean. Yeah. And David, I think is.
And then David shoots him.
Well, but he didn't shoot him dead.
No. Which I'm like, why?
Well, it'd be hard to say. I mean, it'd be like shooting somebody.
Well, but he shot him like in both of his legs.
Well, yeah.
It's like immobilized. I mean, that would.
Suck it up, pal. Yeah. But it wasn't real bullets. It wasn't the electrical charges or whatever. It was real bullets. Real bullets. Yeah.
Real bullets.
Toughen up, kid.
Shot him in the thighs.
He'll be all right. So.
Actually, it never says that. It never says that he lived.
Roy. That's his name, Roy. Which, if you watch The Office, Roy's probably get shot. I don't like Roy. What were you going to say? You're remembering? Look like you're remembering something.
And you're gonna get to it in a second.
Okay, you can just start talking about that if you want.
And so after he shoots him, David, he shoots Roy. Yeah, Roy.
Roy.
He says that he makes up an epic name for the Reckoners group, and they called him Limelight. Mm-hmm. So later on, they you'll read this later on, but they set up certain things to make it seem like there's an epic, and it's really cool.
Yeah,
just the way that they set it up.
And David was really pretty smart in his thinking about, hey, if we're going to kill an epic, really the only way to draw Steelheart out is to make it seem like another epic's taking its turf.
Yeah.
So
he says to him, Limelight is coming.
Yeah, Limelight, which
spread the news.
I mean, again, kind of a cheesy name, but the whole point is he's going to steal the limelight. I mean, I think that's why he chose the name. Like, when somebody wants to be noticed above somebody else's popular, they kind of say, well, that person is just trying to steal the limelight, trying to seem more important.
I think people mostly just say spotlight now.
It's both.
He could have said that because of that reason, but there's also another reason that it gets to later in the book. So I'll tell you after. But
okay.
So it might be like a Easter egg.
Right.
A hint towards it. So.
Yeah, could be right.
I could be. I probably am.
Put that in your notes. Bring it up later.
Okay.
She's not right at all. What? She could be right. No. Yeah. So they make their escape. Then I think you're right. I think Cody is the one that has all the crazy accents. It's a little bit nuts in the head.
I love him.
So then Cody, I think, is using something they call the tensors, which basically you get to they're like gloves that you use to dig, but you don't actually touch it. You dig with sound waves or something. Is that?
Yeah, you
But not on live things. It just works on.
It just works on I think
dirt
it's metals.
Or metal.
I think it's just metals that it works on.
Yeah.
So.
They seem pretty cool.
It's super cool. Because you just put your hand up to it and then it hums a bunch, and then I think you have to I don't know how you do it. I think you hum to the tune of it or something. I don't remember how it was.
I thought it just made the humming sound, and it kind of just.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
You couldn't go too fast because then I think it would push you back or something. So, but you kind of had to get used to the vibration of the gloves. But you also had it wasn't just. It did require you to use some of your muscle to kind of. Yeah. Otherwise it would move your hands around. So you kind of had to form what you wanted with your hands.
Yeah.
But then it just kind of.
And which I think is kind of cool later on. It tells you why, but Megan and Prof can't use them.
Right.
They just can't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
Yeah. Wonder why.
I wonder why. We'll never know.
So, I think it wasn't one thing in particular, but the team is pretty much all impressed by the level of detail that David has for all his information. I'm not sure how he acquired the photos, whether it was just trading information. Did he say it paid for him? I don't
remember. I think he'll just get them off of like sources.
Okay.
Like I think he just knows people.
So he has some pictures of some things, which is how he knows that
some pictures of some things of some places.
Night Wielder can actually be seen when exposed to light. He's got like a kind of a fuzzy photo of him being visible, and then just over. And it's not just epics around Chicago, right? It's kind of other epics too, or is this one he just has information for all the epics in this
I think
city?
it's just most of the high epics that he has information on. I don't think it's the little epics.
Okay.
I don't think he really cares about them.
Then Tia is like the prof's number one assistant. Mm-hmm. She's pretty high up. She's like the brains. She's like the
eventually
the
she's
tech
like
person.
Sort of becomes like David's mom, I would say, like foster mother.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
And so she starts talking to him about his ranking system, because he calls high epics, and they call them something else, and so they're trying to work out a system to where when we're talking about something, we need to be able to use the same system. But she was impressed that he kind of cataloged all these epics in different categories and classes, and so he's clearly very talented.
I don't remember what they all were.
I don't either. I mean, I don't think we ever really talk about it much, except for like here, because it's not. Now, if you're reading like Brandon Sanderson's other books that are like crazy thick and really detailed, I think they would probably go into a lot of detail about the systems and what all of they are and the magics they have. But I think it's just to show that David's a pretty smart guy. So, no, it's Abraham. Abraham's the I don't remember. Is it not Abraham?
It's Cody.
Is it Cody? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Abraham's
like the weird grandpa.
Abraham is the one that kind of believed, like David's dad did, that the epics aren't all bad, that they can kind of he's waiting for kind of the Messiah epic that's going to come along and help defeat all the other epics or whatever. So I forget what they call their group. It's like a religion.
It is a religion.
I forget what it's called.
I don't know. Later on, he gives David a necklace.
That's right.
With
yeah.
their symbol on it.
Yeah. It's kind of important, but not as important
it's kind
as
of like a cult.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
It's like okay.
But I mean, it pretty much is a cult. Yeah. It's some crazy beliefs. So the professor isn't like, well, you've kind of convinced me, but you have to convince Megan, because I think it was kind of because he's just kind of the idea man. She's kind of out in the field.
Yeah.
So if you can't convince her to believe in it, I'm not going to make her sacrifice herself because of an idea that you and I may think is kind of cool.
Yeah. And doesn't she hate it? Like she hates the idea.
Yeah, but we find out later on why.
Why? Yeah.
And it makes sense why she would. But yeah, she hates it, but not enough to where she puts her own desires. She's like, I don't agree with it, but I can see the value of possibly doing this.
Yeah.
And then they realize as they are kind of talking through all the issues, well, the hardest part might not be killing him, might be trying
finding him.
Yeah, so, which is why David was so smart with old Limelight thing, because
they need him to come to them.
Right. He needs to feel threatened.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to go after so you have the enforcers are all they're like the army, right? And they've got these guns that are powered. Do they call them pulse guns, or there's some kind of guns that are powered by electricity.
Yeah.
They have to be charged.
They're crazy.
And there's really not enough power in the city to charge all the lights, so they realize that Conflux is actually, they have these powers they can give. There's certain epics that they can give their
powers.
Gift powers.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But then there are also certain epics that can take powers. by touching you.
Right.
It's
But
like, what?
Confluence is the gifter.
Yes.
So that they realize he is, one, he's producing
Electricity.
the extra electricity the city needs to help the enforcement agents power their weapons and whatnot. And two, he's then gifted his powers, and we find out about why later on. So the goal is to either kill him or kidnap him, right?
Yes.
Okay. So then they start the planning on how to do that. And then time is passing. David is learning how to do the tensors, but not on people. We find that the professor made them, and like you said, he won't use them. And you always kind of wonder, well, why are you? And I mean, maybe you're averse to using technology, or maybe I would just thought it was kind of weird. Or maybe you're lazy. You're like, I don't want to use that. Grunt. Get over there and do it.
Sore.
Yeah.
Like,
These are heavy. They. So he also made kind of, they don't call them like bulletproof vests, but they're kind of vests that keep you from getting injured too much. What are they called? Sort of. They work kind of when it's convenient.
Yes.
Yeah, the dowser is what they use to test epics. It's kind of the like a scanner, like on Star Trek. You kind of scan. Epic. And then a harm's way, which is kind of like if you play Fortnite, it's like a med kit, right?
Oh my god.
Well, we play Fortnite. It's awesome. You should play.
Weird.
Hook us up online.
We like Fortnite, guys.
Yeah, great. And then the professor then says, "Hey, I want you to go with Abraham and Megan to this arms dealer because we need." What are they after? A particular gun, or they just need guns? Which gun?
They think that because at the bank, David's dad used a gun that he picked up from one of the security guards after they died, and tried to shoot but it hurt Steelheart.
Yeah.
So they think that it's that certain gun.
Like a magic gun.
That's one of his weaknesses.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And they're going to pay for it all with diamonds.
Yes, and then David. This is really funny. Later on in the book, you realize, but David sees these bikes, like motorcycles, and do they have like, I don't know, it's something where if you turn like really sharp, you'll never skid out and hit the ground because I forget what they call it. It was like gyrotechnics or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So when you spin, or like you never like spin out, or like the bike never skids out from under you, unless the gyrotechnics are disabled. So
yeah,
it's kind of cool.
Pretty cool tech.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If only we had that.
What?
If only we had that.
That would be awesome. It'd be fun to teach you how to learn how to drive those on.
I know.
And at some point, David sees the jacket. And because as they're walking through the city's dark underbelly, they come across this gang of people that basically say, "Hey, we want
give me your weapons."
Your weapons, and Abraham's like,
Abraham
no.
has like a giant minigun, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was like a minigun or a bazooka.
Yeah, and he basically says, "No, you're gonna have to shoot me." And so they shoot him, but he's got the jacket on, so it doesn't. Although it kind of misses, and he actually does get kind of hit on the arm or whatever because it misses. And does he shoot back, or do they just realize that hey,
I think that
he can't be
that they just
hurt, so we're gonna get out of here. Yeah. So David sees that the jacket actually works.
Sort of.
And then they get to the
Diamonds dealer.
arms dealer.
Yep.
And then we'll pick it up from there next time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what are your thoughts? It's the first
15 chapters.
15 chapters of the book, so the first third of the book probably. I think it's 60 chapters.
No.
It's 60
That wouldn't
chapters.
be the first third of the book then.
First quarter.
First sixth.
First quarter.
First sixth.
No, it's 60. We're 15
Wait,
chapters.
never mind.
First quarter of the book.
Never mind, don't listen to me.
She's good at math.
Shut
I
up.
love her so much.
Go away.
So it's the first quarter of the book.
First sixth of the book. Good times.
Quarter.
Good times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It reads really quickly. It's the chapters are short enough to where it's not a huge investment of time. If you're like, oh, I want to read one more chapter. Oh, I wonder. And a lot of times I was like, the next chapter is only five pages. I can do that.
Just one more.
Yeah. So
just one more.
It's pretty good in that sense. It's really clean. There's no. I mean, the worst you get is like David, like looking at Megan, going, "Oh, she's so pretty." You know, she looks good in that shirt. Yeah, stuff like that. It's like pretty tame. Are there any swear words in the?
I believe so.
Are there? If there are, there's not.
I think it's like a gosh darn, you know.
Maybe, not as many as Inkheart.
No.
I had a lot.
The second and third books of those, I almost was just done with them. I was like, dude.
So anything else before we sign off?
No.
I'd say it's if you're looking for like a nice summer read that's not going to be too strenuous, not going to be like, oh, this is hard, I got to think about it. It's a fun little young adult, cool idea story.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. So, all right. Like and subscribe. Hit those noties. See you in a couple weeks.
Be cool. Stay in school.
Stay in school.
Don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs. Make good life choices.
Yes.
All right. See you then.
Toodles!
Toodles!
Toodles!